Hello, and welcome to the Tinley Park Chamber of Commerce cable TV show. My name is Donna Framke, and I'm delighted to be your host for the February edition of the Chamber Spotlight. Please join me in greeting our first guest, Mr. Dave King from Sleep in Heavenly Peace, a new nonprofit organization, I understand.
Yes. Well, that's Sleep in Heavenly Peace as an organization has actually been around since 2012.
Is that right?
But we just started a local chapter here in our south suburbs in March of 2019. So it's really exciting. It is still new, and we are growing, but we're growing at a surprising rate. It's a good thing that we're able to grow and that we have the support. And of course, it's not necessarily a negative thing, but a necessary thing that we're here because there are people to help at the same time.
Gotcha. Now, I don't know anything about the organization, so tell me a little bit about what your mission is.
Sleep in Heavenly Peace, we build beds for kids that are sleeping on the floor.
Oh.
It's that simple. If a child does not have a bed, then Sleep in Heavenly Peace wants to build them one. And that's the beauty about it is as a local organization, we are helping locals. So it's not only working with your neighbors, but it's also working with your neighbors to help your neighbors.
Nice.
So it is it's a great cause. It's an eye-opening experience, and it's a lot of fun in the process. So basically what we do is we work to fundraise. So we do that through a variety of outlets and always accepting donations. And then what we do is we literally will go to the big box stores or the lumber yards, and we purchase the wood, the raw materials, all the lag bolts, washers, screws, sandpaper, everything that we're going to need. And then we host public build days. So that's not only when our volunteers from the Sleep in Heavenly Peace organization, but also volunteers from the community, from local businesses, from organizations, churches, pretty much anybody who is willing to donate their time and help. And then basically, if you think about it like different tables in a room, and each table is responsible for a specific job throughout that process. And then by the end of that assembly line, if you will, we have all the completed bed components.
Oh, that's fantastic.
And I did bring one of them with, so you'll be able to see that as well. Sleep in Heavenly Peace, we build the beds for kids between the ages of 3 and 17 years old. And again, we don't care why they're sleeping on the floor. I always say that there are so many reasons that can lead to the need for a bed, and we don't care what that reason is. We just want to get those kids in a bed. None of those children are in that position because of a decision that they made. And that's why, we're very fortunate, not only with the volunteers that we have, but also people like yourself that are helping us spread our word and our mission to make sure that no kid sleeps on the floor in our town, which is literally our motto for Sleep in Heavenly Peace, that no kid sleeps on the floor in our town. But we want it to be more than just our town. And for example, like I was saying, just since March, we have delivered over 150 beds to 25 different cities on the south side here.
Wow.
So we typically concentrate from the Tinley Park to Oak Lawn and then back to the Chicago Heights and everywhere in between that particular area.
Okay, so this whole south region here. Okay. Now, how do you find people who need these beds?
Well, that has been part of the challenge and part of the success because it's that word of mouth. Again, we're relying on people like yourself that are just willing and interested to help us promote our mission and really continue helping our community, helping the kids in the next community, and really anybody that needs it. It just brings me back to when I stop and look at where I came from. Just to be very honest with you, when my dad was in my life, I was 4 years old at that time, and he went to get cigarettes, and then he never came back. So it left my mom with 2 young boys, and my brother and I were not always the best kids. So she definitely had her hands full.
Little boys.
Exactly. So she definitely had her hands full at times. And when I stop and I look back, and she's one of the strongest, most courageous, bravest, most accomplished. I mean, she really is a superhero in my eyes. And when you stop and look at all that she was able to accomplish, knowing that she didn't have the help, But then I do stop and I realize she did have help at certain times. She did have that community behind her. So many friends, family, and support from the community that does make that possible. And so that's one of the reasons that also, inspires me to be like her, to be like all the other volunteers and everybody that help Sleep in Heavenly Peace on a daily basis. It's amazing. We have just a ton of great people and businesses like Ed Kofer, and we have Dale Schmitz, and a couple of my go-to gentlemen that help. Like Matt Mettinger is one of our build coordinators. So we just have a couple people that are experienced, and then they work a particular station. So no experience is needed for volunteers to come out, join the build process, and help us build beds.
How often do you do it? You said
we build once a month, so we try to get a business or organization to host it. So then we
do it on site?
Exactly. So we get all those tools and materials, the wood, the lumber, everything that we need. We bring it to one particular location, and then we have volunteers get hands-on and really gain the experience to do that.
So the volunteers are getting a little something out of it too, learning a little bit, huh?
They're learning something that they probably haven't done before, or it's the opposite of it, where we also need help and rely 100% on volunteers and donations in order to deliver the beds as well. So it's all volunteers doing the work, and which means it doesn't have overhead for us. So 100% of the funds that we raise go right towards the expenses, allowing us to build even more beds.
Gotcha. Now, how do you do some of your fundraising?
Well, we have a Queen of Hearts drawing that we do Thursdays at 7:30 at Sam's Triple Crown in Orland. That has gone pretty well for us so far, but we have really just an unbelievable support system through local businesses, not only the chamber businesses as well, but there are some additional ones as well, the Rotary clubs, the Lions clubs, and really we were amazed at the last holidays at just the outpouring of support that we had.
Oh, that's great.
Families and organizations that were giving up their holiday gift exchanges and in turn donating to Sleep in Heavenly Peace because they knew it was making a bigger impact than what they would be buying for each other.
You bet, right.
And it was just inspiring. I mean, the more our list continues to grow of the kids that need beds as they learn about our organization, the more our support grows just the same. So it's great. It's inspiring and motivating at the exact same time. And when you walk into a room and you just see a pile of clothes in the corner, and that's what that kid was sleeping on, there's no dresser, there's no drapes, there's no poster on the wall, there's nothing. And when we deliver that bed, you're bringing in a sturdy frame, a brand new mattress that we're cutting out of the box, pillows, sheets, and either a comforter or a handmade quilt. And when it goes from nothing to that perfect little bed, and then that little kid sees it for the very first time, and it's theirs. It's their comfort zone. It's not something that anybody else is going to use or somebody may sell or anything. They're going to be able to utilize that bed for the next 10 to 15 years. And it's rewarding in a way that I really can't even explain or describe. And we want everybody to encourage everybody to come out and join us, feel what this is like, help make a difference in our community, and show a child that somebody cares about them. We can make a difference, and we do one bed at a time.
That is great. You're really doing some inspiring work. Congratulations. That's wonderful. And I think that we're at a point here where it's already, that went very quickly, time to close, but information will be available for anybody who wants to volunteer on the Tinley Park Chamber of Commerce site. So thank you so much, Dave, for coming and sharing spreading the word and sharing the information. And
thank you, Don.
I wish you all the best.
I appreciate you having me.
Thank you. Please join me in welcoming our next guests, Kristin and Steve Rosko from Fresh Coat Painters. Welcome.
Thank you.
So painting, this is the time of year when people are thinking about doing all those great things in their homes. I imagine that this is your busy season.
It starts picking up a little bit. After the holidays and stuff, everyone the house got trashed from their, family members that came and their little kids, nicking the walls, and like, we just need to fix
Time
this.
for a fresh coat of paint, and the name's perfect, huh?
Yeah.
So what motivated you guys to go into this field of painting?
Well, we had been wanting to open up our own company for a while. And so we ended up deciding on, we searched and searched, and we ended up deciding on painting. We had worked with contractors all of our lives, at various times for very, different work.
Sure.
And we didn't have the best experience all the time, right? So we wanted to take control of that destiny, and we wanted to have an experience for folks to, to really enjoy. And so we decided on painting. That's Kristin's passion, is to kind of design work in the past. And
You have a background in design, so.
Oh, nice.
so it was a good fit for us, a great fit for our family, allowed us some flexibility with our schedules and with the little ones that we've got at home, the kids. So yeah, that was kind of it.
Perfect. So tell me a little bit about your background. You said you're in design.
So-
you have a background in
So I
design?
have a little background in design. If you meet all of my sisters, like all of their homes are just to the T, like beautiful. We can, match colors, and we can see the undertones and everything else. So I'm really good at helping my clients. And if my client doesn't want to go with my recommendations, we are partnered with Sherwin-Williams, who also has an interior designer that we could send over to their home, for counseling as well. So they could either take right from me, or they could take it from the Sherwins,
There
but
you
we got it covered for them.
Oh, that's great. And how about you, Steve?
Yeah, my background has always been sales and marketing, so I kind of do a lot of the operations and marketing for the company. She's kind of the brains of the works, though.
Design brain, huh?
Absolutely,
Well,
for
that
sure.
the estimator.
She does most of the work, to be honest, and all the hard stuff, I should say. So I help support her however I can, but she's really the face of the organization, and I do all the back end stuff.
Oh, nice. So tell me a little bit about the types of work that you do through Freshco Painters. Obviously, you're
So we do interior, we do exterior. One of the things we do is we do cabinets, which is really popular now because it's probably about a fourth the cost to refinish your cabinets rather than going and having your whole kitchen renovated and everything
Sure.
taken out and the big mess that comes along
I
with
was gonna
this.
say, not to mention the
Usually a
mess.
process like this takes about 3 to 4 days. So this is like a before and this is an after. This is just the oak. But pretty much we could do any color that people want. I'm starting to see people doing the grays and blues in the cabinets, and it's really, really pretty, and it just transforms the kitchen.
sure.
So, and even bathrooms. I have a few clients that have done their bathrooms, and it's amazing. So they look like they have brand new cabinets, when they had like a house from the 70s.
What are the trends right now? You said blues and grays.
Blue
What-
is the number one color. It's called, I don't remember the name. I want to say it's a navy blue. That's the top color for 2020.
Ah,
So navy.
just like we see here.
Yeah.
huh?
So
Yeah, in addition to cabinets, we also do fence work, decks, exterior and interior painting, residential and commercial as well. So we
And-
pretty much do it all.
Wow.
and drywall repair. We've done a lot of
sure.
drywall repair.
Really?
Yeah. So if you have cracks, I don't care how bad they are because we've seen it all. Or at least we think we have. We can fix it and make it look new. So my
Gotcha.
guys are awesome, and the reason I have such a great company is because we're a good team.
How many people do you have working with you?
We have. It depends on. We usually have like 2 crews right now.
Okay.
But as we start ramping up for the year, then we'll end up having more crews.
Gotcha.
So for right now, with the slower time to make sure that I keep my workers consistent.
So it's always rolling and revolving. So
Sure.
I mean, we could have 10 guys working on one particular project while we're doing other ones as well, right?
Gotcha.
But the goal is to really double the amount of work and that we have this coming year. That's kind of one of the goals that we have. So we're all about growth and just ramping up and trying to get as much
Sure.
But in the same
exposure out
time,
there.
it's making sure that our employees are the standard that I expect.
course.
I am a perfectionist, and I also want people that are respectful of myself and the people's homes that we're going into. And I've honestly struggled with the people that I've
that's
come in
great.
contact with. So they're really great. Even one of my guys, we were doing this guy whose house is 90. He's 90 years old, and the guys always go to Dunkin' Donuts in the morning and. I was gonna go get coffee, and I'm like, "Do you need some, donut?" And he goes, "Oh, the guys already got me donuts." And I'm like, I'm like, so they're just everyone that comes into my company. I expect them to be thoughtful and considerate, and make sure they're on time, and make sure when we leave the home, the house is just as clean, if not cleaner, than when we left it.
That's great. Well,
So-
that was your business plan. You said you
Exactly.
get right into it. Make it a good
Exactly.
experience for people who are looking for
Well, yeah, because we're not just
sure.
a painting crew. I mean, we are, we're transforming someone's home. I want someone to feel like this I don't know, this great, I mean, it just is amazing what, like I've done people's homes and their walls are like falling apart. And like I've had people almost in tears, like, oh my gosh, like I've been wanting to do this for so long. And like because of the damage that was done to the walls and then us coming in and transforming, it looks like a completely different place. So,
What a great feeling
so it's
that's
really
gotta be
good,
for
like,
them when they
you
walk
know,
out.
it's like,
Walk in.
you kind of brighten someone's day or, brighten, their month or whatever it is, so.
Gotcha. So painting, how do you stop it from being, sometimes it can be repetitive, I guess?
Actually not, because every single job that I go on, it's always different.
Oh,
There's
there you
always
go.
surprises. So like you think it's just going to be a simple paint job. I would love it to just be a simple paint job, but it never ends up being that way.
Always surprises.
But I will say that my guys, always, even if I miss something during the initial walkthrough with the clients, they'll point it out to me, and before we even begin, I'll mention it to the clients that this is what we're going to have to do. So so when we get a client, I do walk through with them before we start the job, and make sure that we're going to meet all their expectations, everything that we want to get done. And then once the job's complete, I do a walkthrough with them to make sure everything's to their satisfaction, so that we don't need to come back.
Great customer service. That's
So.
really impressive. Wow. So who are your ideal customers and clients?
We do both commercial. Well, right now, the majority of our business is residential, but we are working on a lot of commercial stuff too. So anyone that wants to put paint on their walls, like
So pretty much anybody.
anyone.
Anybody watching.
You're a renter. You own something. You're selling. You're trying to flip something. I just recently did a house that the house was in shambles because it was like a 60-year-old house, and it was the same family that lived there. We had a realtor reach out to us, hey, can you come and fix the drywall and the paint? And we took care of it in 4 days, and he put it on the market. In 6 days, he had a contract, and it's now sold.
Wow.
So it was
Great.
it was a great feeling, because it was a lot of stress for the older man. His wife had passed away, and he's just like, I'm done. I don't want this anymore.
You were
So-
able to transform it, make it feel like new, huh?
Yeah,
That-
so.
That's great. Was there anything that you'd like to share with our audience as we conclude our spot here?
I think really the take home is that if you've got any painting jobs that need to be done, and you're looking for a reliable source that is going to come home and it's like family coming in there, because we are a family-owned business, then give us a call, obviously.
Yeah, we do free estimates too. So
Oh,
there's
good to
no
know.
obligation. There's no pressure. At the end of the day, we want you to be comfortable with who you choose. But we do background checks on all of our employees, and we are insured. So you can be assured that you don't have any worries of us coming into your home.
Fantastic. Well, this has been great information, and it's very timely for this time of year. I know it's a time when everybody's trying to get something done in their house, and give Fresh Coat Painters of Orland Park a call. So thank you very much for joining
Well,
us.
thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, appreciate it.
And our next guest is Donna Furmanek from To Life Everyday Yoga and Wellness. Welcome, Donna.
Thank you.
That's a great name for a company, To Life. What is the thought behind that?
Well, my original business, Academy of Creative Movement Yoga, which is the original name, and now that I've been teaching for some time and living, through the yoga world and the health world, it came to me I wanted something energizing to inspire people to really live their lives to their fullest using some of these health tools like yoga and nutrition.
Excellent. Well, that's very descriptive. So what is your background? How did you end up becoming a yoga and wellness instructor?
I have a dance background, so I was comfortable moving, but there was a program on Channel 11 that I watched for many years that was on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and I practiced, and it just really helped me focus. I ordered the books and the tapes, and that's how I got into the yoga.
Okay.
And I used yoga in my career of teaching. I've worked with young children, and I've always used yoga and movement and nutrition in my classroom.
Okay.
So it's been a part of my life for a long time, and I ended up, learning not just about yoga, but about movement and nutrition and wellness, through all of my life. And so I decided to open up actually a dance studio, but that was so many years ago now. That's almost like, that's why I'm renaming my studio, because so much has transpired over the years. So there's so much more that I feel like I can offer now, that I've been teaching for some years. So that's basically how I got involved in yoga, though, was through this great television program.
That's very interesting.
Yeah.
So what kind of things does To Life Everyday Yoga and Wellness, what are the types of services or whatever that you offer? Obviously, you mentioned yoga, but...
Yeah, so I do offer yoga classes, and part of my specialty is to help those who are in need of special needs. I work with all ages and abilities, but I can include, people who are maybe aching in their shoulders or their knees, or have a sense of maybe they feel like they're even coming in with braces on their knees and things like that. I can work with. So I want to be able to inspire people to know that they can practice yoga. And also I do specialized movement, creative specialized movement. I have a degree in movement analysis through Columbia College. So that was a whole new world of exploring this big word called neuroplasticity, where you can actually rewire your brain to in movement patterns. So that is part of my program, as well as nutrition. So I'm studying now a nutrition course, and through the National Council of Sports and Fitness. So I'm hoping to take that, and also an ancient science called Ayurveda. I don't know if you've ever heard of that.
I have. I actually didn't know the right way to pronounce it,
Yeah,
but now that you've said
it means science of life. And it really is an approach where you look at how you live your day, not just what you eat, but how you live your day, and how you live in your, just every aspect of your life, daily routine.
Sure.
So these are things maybe we don't often think about when it comes to our own well-being. Like, how can this really help me? So all these things in combination, what I want to do is bring that holism that is really a part of yoga. It's so holistic that it's less of a just movement. It's all how we live our life. So this is why this idea of To Life, it's just full. Our lives can be so full.
Sure, and very all-encompassing. Huh?
And sometimes we get really busy and distracted, and it gets hard to, so I like to make it manageable for people so that they can realize that you don't have to do everything at once.
Right.
A step at a time.
So you mentioned that neuroplasticity.
Yeah.
Can people really rewire their brains if somebody hasn't been a active person all the time? It sounds like you can kind of work with them a little bit to help them.
I in my own experience, and even with the children I've worked with in schools, and people who I've worked with who have stuck with programs, how in the beginning when they were coming in for, say, a yoga class, how it was hard. And now, yes, the ease is there, but also they're more focused. Maybe I see that change, or even with children, in different movement aspects that I worked with, the confidence is built. So, and their skills change over time. It doesn't happen overnight.
Right.
Yeah, it's kind of like playing the piano. But
as you continue to practice it a little bit.
Yeah, so it's almost like you're recreating yourself in a way.
Wow, that's really interesting.
It is.
That's really interesting. So anybody who has, even people who might have some disabilities or whatever, that you can work with them to customize a program? Different ages, different...
Yeah, different ages. So, I work with all ages. I probably have my clientele consists of a lot of middle-aged, but I do volunteer work with some of the teens. I do some volunteer with yoga, and also some volunteer work with children of Down syndrome.
Fantastic.
And So I offer classes for children with special needs, and I'd actually like to get more children involved, especially nowadays with some of the sitting, the technology is a little overwhelming sometimes. I have this idea to incorporate education with movement more prominently so that it's not just only academic sounding. So
Gotcha. Okay. So, how many people other people work with you in your business, or how are people finding out about your business? And
well, I sort of have a self-promote. I have a website.
okay.
And being out, I am out in the community, with the teens, with the children, and in schools. I work as still a teacher. I'm a Montessori educator, so I
Very
get
nice.
out and I teach in other locations. I teach in Moraine Valley Community College and another
nice.
park district, and so sometimes those people will come to me, and that's how the word gets out. So I basically work by myself. Sometimes have a couple of special guests in, but mainly I'm sole proprietor.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So, do you have a business plan for the future? What kind of business plan are you?
So in the future, my goal is to really continue to promote this idea of the ability to have optimal health. Because I don't think we really realize that we can feel better. We just kind of go through our day and we just
That is so true.
take it as it comes. But really, we can put all these pieces together: movement, yoga, nutrition, meditation, and we can really build ourselves and create ourselves new. And that's why I think too, life just resonates with me, that it brings energy to people's lives. And that's what I feel and would like to share with others.
That's great. Well, it's really been interesting learning about all of that. As we conclude our segment, is there anything you'd like to share with our audience?
Just to let people know that I'm available to do outreach programs for schools. I give CPDUs to teachers who would like to relax and also use yoga in their classrooms, as well as, I'm mobile, I'm flexible, so I can be available to people who need me outside the home as well as in my home-based studio or inside. And I want and have a taste of what it feels like to use movement, use yoga, use forms of meditation, Ayurveda, all these things. It's just not, you come in and learn and grow through your own experience.
That's great. Sounds like you can almost customize a plan based on what
Customize a
somebody
plan.
needs, huh?
Definitely.
Well, thank you, Donna, so much for sharing all that information with us and for joining us. And if you would like any more information on any of the guests who've been on our program, please contact the Tinley Park Chamber of Commerce, either by phone at 708-532-5700, or of course on the Chamber website at tinleychamber.org. Thanks very much for joining us, and we'll see you next month.